Hello, 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 and welcome to episode 35 here in my Monday morning's mixed media piece. It is a nice morning here with sunshine, and yeah, it will be a great day today, I think. So, why not start this morning here by doing something in my book? And now I will show you these papers here. And they are all made with leftover paint on my jelly plate, and they look quite strange because I have collaged also on them. But when I'm done talking here, there are some different clips on how these papers were made. And oh, sorry. Hold up. Yeah. There are some clips where I show you how to make these kinds of papers and what the papers are. I will talk more about this when I'm done talking here. And with these papers, and they are not specifically nice papers or good looking papers or papers I love or anything, but I will try to make a spread with a abstract landscape out of them, and not glue the whole spread with it, but only use parts of the papers and then use some other translucent paints. And it is really an experiment for me because I have never done this before, and I'm not a painter in the sense of I'm one who have paint on canvases or make paintings to hang on your wall. I do a lot of other things and gladly mix it, and I also like to use paint and splash around with it, but I have no idea if this would end up like a total blob fiasco or it will end up nice. I don't know, but we will see. So there's a link below here for the playlist for things that are in my altered book here. There also are a link for how you can alter books and put covers on, both for this one and a previous book I was working in, a much smaller book. So these links will be here below for you to look at. And what else do I want to say? Yeah, my name is Lisbeth, but you probably know if you have been following me for a while. And if you're new here, very welcome. And I'm Danish, and I do all kinds of different things. So look at the playlist and see what perhaps interests you. And again, I will say my English is as it is, and hopefully you can see what I'm doing too, so it won't be a problem for you. But now I will insert some of the clips I have where these papers were made. And after that, I will work in this book here. Don't know if you will remember, but in last week's Monday morning's mixed media series, about half into the video or so, I had a lot of leftover paints from what I was doing, so I took it and painted it here on my jelly plate. And this is all these colors sitting there, and it has been sitting there for a week or so, and it's totally dry. And I did some other things where I had some black paint leftovers, and I also just wiped my brush off here. So now this is looking like this. So my plan is to give it a thin layer of some translucent paint and let it dry. And when it's dry, totally dry, I would put some matte medium on and put some collage bits on, and then put some medical exam tissue paper on the top and let it dry, and then I can pull it all off in one. But the first layer I'm putting on here, the translucent paint, will dry pretty fast, but the second layer, it will take some time to dry, and you can use your hair dryer on cold settings. So if you are so lucky you have sun, you can let it be in the sun. But let us start here with the translucent paint. So I think I will go with 2 colors just for the fun of it. My beloved Queen Aquadone Nickel Azo Gold, and then I will take some green gold also. And you can see they are translucent because you can see the tick marks through here. Different brands does it differently. Some put small squares on, and if the square is black, it is opaque, and if it is half and half, it is semi-opaque or semi-translucent, and if it is white, the square, it is translucent. But I think I will just roll the first color out here, there, the thin layer, yeah, and it's nearly coming anything off here. I have a roll of sheet beside me, there, and again I will just roll this off, and then this has to dry, but we can look through here and see how it looks. So when this is dry, I will be back. Oh, this is already dry. It didn't take very long. So now I will take my matte medium here, and I'm sure you can also use gloss medium or any other kinds of medium you have. Perhaps it would even be better if you use gloss medium, but I don't have something by my hand here now. So I will put this amount on here, and then I will take my brayer and roll it out, and be sure you are all over the plate, because this is a layer that is going to pick everything up here in a while. Now I have all these small bits and bobs of leftover papers, and I will just place them here on my plate, totally random. And I will try not to overlap them. And yeah. It doesn't matter if it goes out of the plate. That doesn't matter, because then we can always take that out. There. Put this on there. Perhaps a small piece there. Like that. I think that is fine. So now again I will take some matte medium here, and the tricky part now is to roll these papers flat, but not do it too quick, or then the papers will roll up on your roll if you do it too quick. And I think I need a little more. Of course, the more you put on, the longer times it takes to dry, but so what? I have all the time in the world. You can see here, if I'm doing it, it is lifting, and that is not the meaning. Yeah, exactly like that, and that was what I didn't want to happen. Perhaps this was a little too dry. So again, oh yeah. So I can use my fingers perhaps instead. but give it a good amount and be sure that it is sticking down. So I can see I need some more medium, but a good layer of that. So now I have a good amount of it on, and I don't think this will lift out very well because I have air bubbles under here. But then I will take my medical exam paper and place it here on the top and squeeze it down the best I can. Here. And then again I will put some on here and just give it a roll here. And this really needs to dry because I have been very heavy-handed with the medium. I think the thinner medium you have, I think this is a fluid matte medium, there's not much left in my container here, and I think that it is too thick, so I just found another one. So this will take a couple of hours to dry. Sadly I have no sun I can put it in, but I will see if my hair dryer can go on no heat, but just blowing. Yeah, I will be back when this is dry. I have a smaller plate here I also have used as palette, and I often use my smaller plates for that. And this paint is also bone dry. So now instead of using my too thick matte medium, I have taken my gloss medium because it is more runny. And then I will roll a layer of that out here. Let us see if that works better. And the collage papers I'm putting on here now is, you can use all kinds of papers, old maps and pages from old books, and yeah, you name it. That is totally up to you what you want to put on. There should be good contact here. Let me see if I can fit this one in here. Maybe there. And perhaps this piece there. It don't matter so much if you're going over the edges, but the paper really has to be in good contact with the matte medium. And then again I will roll them down here and try to do it so they won't roll up on me. Yeah, I think this is working better because it is more fluid here. So again I will put another portion of this on here. Perhaps that was a little too much, but better to be safe than sorry, and I can roll some of it off. I'll just roll it off here by my side. But again, I will take my medical exam paper and just place it down here and squeeze it down and remove this and this. And then I can really if you think it needs more gluing, you can always put a layer on here, but I think this feels like it is adhered very well here. And again, this will take some time to dry, but I will put it off when it has to be dry, bone dry, and that can take several hours depending on where you're living, or if you're using your hair dryer, or put it out in the sun, or just let it be. You could let it be until tomorrow also, but I will be back. This one feels really dry now, so I hope I'm right when I'm my feeling is okay about it. But sometimes it is best to release the edges a little before you start pulling your print. So pull a little up here, and so your papers are free of the edges. Then it is easier to pull the whole print afterwards. Sometimes it can also be easier to pull the plate of the paper instead of pulling the paper of the plate. So you can also try to do that. So you just lift a corner up here, for instance, and then you can remove your plate instead, and that works quite fine instead. I think I would do this here in this case, and this is exactly what I was hoping for here. That nearly, yeah, there is a tear there, and I can feel it isn't quite dry there, but and I think the thicker collage paper you use, the longer drying time it has to have. But do it slowly. There was a little rip there, but that's okay. But now you have a very nice collage paper, and you can see when I glue this down next time and I use gloss medium, I think it would go totally translucent there, or at least transparent. Or is it the opposite around? Translucent is not totally transparent. Yeah, that is the way. But this worked, but I should have let it sit for half an hour more. I can just dab some paint in there, so it doesn't matter. But I will use this in a collage here later. I think I will try to make a landscapey thing with this and the other papers I have done this way here. Okay, looking a little more of it, I really like that you can see these things up through the transparent layers. It has some text peeking up there and these round dots. So you get it like several layers upon each other and in one pull, and I think that is a great idea for making collage papers. Then there was the bigger one here, and it's the second attempt to remove all that was on my plate. And here it is a little more difficult because this is sitting on a stiff plexiglass plate, so I can't do it the same way, but let me see here. I think it is working this time here. Phew! So I do it quite carefully. So I end up with a clean plate, and that is nice because I have a friend coming over tomorrow, and we're going to be jelly printing. And I usually use this. Yeah, there's something sitting there still. That wasn't good, but let me see if I can pull from the other end perhaps and see what happens there. Yeah. It's not all coming up, but this is the best I can do, I think, with this here. Again, it is quite dry, so I don't understand why this isn't coming up, but there are some marks there, but I can use this part of the paper. So perhaps it wasn't quite dry yet. I should have left it until tomorrow, but I need my plate tomorrow. So I will just remove this and save the papers I have here, and then we can perhaps use them in collage in my big cookbook. I left you last time with this spread here, and perhaps you can recognize some of the colors from here, from this paper here. And that is the reason that the paint from here is leftovers from that ended up on that collage paper there. And then there was the previous one here, and then I reached that point here. And now I'm going to sneeze. Just a moment. There must be something in the air today. This, I have glued 2 pages together, and this is a quite dark spread. So I think I will save it for something else where I needed the dark background. So again, I have glued 2 pages together, and now I have this spread here. And the first thing I want to do, because I want a white background, is to take some gesso and paint it and let it dry. And you have seen me done that many times, so I don't think you need to see me do that. But it is just ordinary gesso, and I will just, yeah, I can see I have to shake it, baby. But I will paint this with white gesso in a good layer, and then I will be back. So my gesso is dry, and I don't mind that it isn't totally covered white. I don't mind there's a little something peeking up through, because I will be gluing onto it. But I don't know about you, but when I sit to such a big area here with nothing on but white, I go, and I think, what am I going to do? So to take the fear away from the blank page, or the blank canvas, or the blank whatever you are working on, close your eyes and just make some marks. And then you have, you could also have taken a pen like this. I really don't think it matters much. So now there is something there, and you don't have to be afraid anymore, and I don't have to be afraid anymore. But let us look at the papers. I have this paper here, and I have this paper here, and they are in fact quite, not ugly, but not particularly nice. And this one is really dark, and you can see here on the back, you can see the papers. And this one, and this one. So I think I will tear some pieces out and glue them down and fill the spaces out with some acrylic paint, so they end up like looking like one piece. Yeah, and of course I can remove these over this paper. There isn't anything on, but yeah, let me see. I don't think I want to cover it totally with these papers here, because that will perhaps be too much. But if I want to use parts of it, I want it to be somehow like they fits together. And if I look at these papers here, I think they could go from there to there with no bigger problems. But perhaps I would tear there and only use that part there, and perhaps take the dark thing to the bottom. So I will see if I can do that. And as I said before, I really don't know if this is going to be something I would puke over or I would like. I have no idea what I'm doing right now. But that could be exciting too. It is quite funny to tear this here, because there is this layer of matte medium, or this layer of gloss medium. I have used both gloss and matte medium here. It's okay with a straight edge up there, because that is where the book is, and it's okay there. So yeah, let me see here. And then I have this piece here, that perhaps could go from there to there. I will remove this here. In fact, I think that looks quite nice there. This is a very boop color in compared to this here. But I think I will rumble a little around here with my papers and see if I can tear anything else out I think would look nice. This one could perhaps go down there, and then I could rip this off here. Like this. Yeah, but I will play a little more. So far I have placed my pieces something like this, and I don't know if this is too much with the two same there, but I have the option of perhaps putting this strip down there. That could also work, but this I really like there, but I'm not so sure about this. But another thing I know now is these two papers here are much too bright in the colors, so I won't be using them here in this piece today. So I have these, that is what I have left so far. But I think I will start gluing these papers down that I know I like and I want to be there. So for a start, and see how that will fit me. So, and I don't know if I can, yeah, I can start with this small bit here. I will cut the edges clean there. And yeah, I know I'm out of frame, but I'm just using my trusty glue stick. And see if it would be sitting there, but I think it will, because there are papers there, and of course there are. But if I take some gloss medium, some of it perhaps would go more translucent. But since there's white down under, I don't think it matters that much, because there is some text peeking up and so. So for the sake of it here in this video, I just think I will use my glue stick, but you could use gloss medium or matte medium instead if you want, and perhaps some of your papers will go more glossy, not more glossy, but more translucent. So I would glue this piece down, this piece down, this piece, and this piece, and this, and I think I would divide it, because I don't think it is nice with such a paper with matte medium or gloss medium on to go down in the gutter. And I also would say I took care not to put a lot of gesso in here. So I will glue these down, and you have seen me gluing so many times, so you don't need to see that. I will be back in a second. So the pieces are glued down, and I have some small bits and bobs left, and I can see this color I don't think look nice here in my spread. So I will cover that up with a piece of this. So I'll just give it with some glue, and yeah, I think there. And that's the nice thing with paper and paint. You can always paint over or glue paper over things you don't like. And I think I want this piece here, and perhaps this piece here. That is the same color, so it is like a little. So this will go down here. It is a quite funny exercise this year to use only these papers and see what you can come up with. And everything here is leftover paint from other things, from my jelly plate, and some leftover of collage papers on as peeking up through the text there, and there's some text peeking up there also and there, and I think that is quite nice. So let us put this here also. I could never have painted a thing like this myself. That would have been totally impossible for me. But as soon as it is something with paper I can glue down, then I can do something. That is a little strange, but so it is. So this is what it looks like here, my landscape. And do I want to put anything in here in this space here? Yeah, perhaps I can tear this up here. It could be quite funny if I ended up using all the papers except the two with the very bright colors on. I don't like them. And there is my cloth. and I can cut this clean afterwards. And then there's this here, and no, I don't want to use more of this. This is too dark. And then I have this piece here. Oh, I have glue on my fingers. And where could I use that? I think I would put it there. Then this is like it is binding the colors together. Oh, I can also put it inside here someplace. Oh, then I have this one too. Nah. Yeah, I will think a little, and then I will find some paints, and then I will see if I dare to put some paints on, and that is the most scariest part for me. So done with all this gluing, and I will say I really like this down here. This piece I don't like so much because it is one big chunky piece. The colors is fine, but yeah, I don't know. But I will paint some translucent blue up here, and some green, yellowish, and something down here. But I'm not quite sure, but yeah, that is very... very... that was perhaps better. Just to... and then perhaps... yeah, it isn't much I'm using here. It's quite funny. It is like it is speeding up on the... because there's matte medium here on the... on the papers. But I think I would go for that. And what... I have some burnt umber. I can go... yeah, perhaps I will go for a lighter color first. And what was it? I can always go darker. It is a little more difficult to go lighter. And was this the one here? That is a little more yellowish. Perhaps I shouldn't be so afraid of just dabbing some paint down and see what happens. I can always paint over it. And then I have a really yellow one. Yeah. And if I don't like it, I can always take a little of it off. That is really yellow. And let me see here. I like these brush marks it gives. Yeah, you can see I just have a palette knife here, not a knife, but a palette here with my paints. That is a really bright thing here I have going on. Perhaps I should come in with a little green over here, this on this side here. Yeah, that is really green. So I'll just mix some yellow in, and I think I will see if I can. Yeah, that was perhaps better. Oh, that is funny. And not half as scary as I thought it would be. Oh, that was a lot. I'll just go in there where there's white papers. Yeah. See here. That is quite green here. I just have a bucket of water here beside me. So oh, that was very green. I don't think I have anything I can make turquoise, but I will see if I can find something I can mix so I can get some turquoise. But so far I think it looks quite nice with these brush marks here. I will be back. So I think I have done enough of splattering around with the paint. So I would let it dry, and then I perhaps will go in with my black something and make a horizon line there, because I think naturally it gives itself, it has to be there. This part down here I think works so nice, especially this part there, even though I really don't like that color very much, but it reminds me of cliffs and stones and so on something. And I don't mind that this turned out quite yellowish, but because I put some brown in, and this is also working fine. This is perhaps a too big poop chunk also just put in there, but yeah, I will perhaps go in and give it a little with my Caran d'Ache also, but this really has to dry now before I do anything. And then again, you can see I have a lot of paint here, and I don't like to waste my paint, so I will get my jelly plate and then I will put all this paint on my jelly plate and let it dry and do exactly the same here. Then I can get some more papers like the papers I have here. I think it is so dry so I can work further, and I always just run my hand over it, and if there's papers that have lifted, I just glue them down again. So it is a little bumpy and so on. And if you remember, this part here was as dark blue as this part there, and that bothered me because it's okay there's dark up here if it's supposed to be a landscape, but I didn't like that there, so I just painted it over. But else I really think I like the composition. And this is what's left of papers, and they doodle now is in my bin. Remember that I put something in my bin. So now for the line I'm going to, I have such a Lyra water-soluble graphite stick, and I will just dip it in my water and go here with the line. It dries up a little more grayish perhaps than this, and if you think you have got too much, you can always take your brush and go over it. You can also have taken your Caran d'Ache new color too and go over it, but now I use this one here, or Stabilo All could you have taken also. Yeah, there are many things you can make these black lines with, but I don't think I would do much more than this here. And if you think it's too much again, just dab a cloth down there. But I think that looks quite yummy nice. And I had no idea when I started what this would end up. And when I think of what else I'm doing, this is very colorful to me, but I think it looks quite nice. And thinking about this issue I have about paintings, if you can say so, I'm never going to be a painter like that, but using papers for a background like this, then I think I can get it to work. So if you have it like me, perhaps it is something for you to try to do it like this. I think it ended up quite nice. I hope you have been inspired to use your leftover paint and making these special collage papers, and again use them for making such a collage painting mixed media thing like this. I had certainly enjoyed it, even though I was quite skeptical when I started, because I was more afraid of it would end up like something that would make my stomach sick. But I ended up with something I can endure to look at, and I don't think it is the last time I will try to do such a thing as this. But if you have liked what you have been seeing, please give my video a thumbs up, and please consider subscribing my little Danish channel. That would be very helpful of you, and I would appreciate it a lot. And else I will say be creative and take care, and please be nice to each other in these strange and not very nice times in the world right now. All we can do is treat our neighbor and near ones nice. If everybody was doing that, the world would be a better place for all of us. But I will see you again another Monday for another spread here in my Monday mornings mixed media book. Farvel, goodbye, adieu, auf Wiedersehen, hej hej.